Hello and welcome to the last JEKACAST talkie video before I make the final upload to round off my music channel, my personal musical journey with the accompaniment of friends in places here and there, but predominantly my personal expression and journey to become a hero in a way. I know it sounds kind of weird to say, doesn't it? But when you're young and you discover music, for me it was 1988, Iron Maiden, Seventh Son of a Seventh Son, and had that on cassette. And you begin noticing these characters, these musicians, and they quickly become heroes. And the romance of the music and the things that they write about and everything that is associated with them, you want to become like your heroes. So first phase in late teenage years in Screwworm, and then that lingering disappointment and thinking, shit, all that time I spent learning how to play guitar and this and that love of music, I want to embody that into something, permanent, as it were. So the second phase, it's funny to think, first phase 19, second phase 29, in terms of actually producing something. So so I've made a couple of videos here, and I think I got dB and hertz mixed up on one video at a certain point, so make that adjustment. And I forgot to mention lemon oil, actually. The whole of the Jekazol phase in terms of guitar playing was that smell of turning on a Marshall, that sort of the warm, that warmth coming out of that grate at the top, and the smell of lemon oil, and in a way, I don't know, the feeling of exertion, of sweat, of of gradually, day by day. There's something. Guitar is very addicting, and it's almost like a personal punishment plank. Anyone who's played a lot of guitar will know what I mean by this. It's you keep coming back to this thing and hammering out your need to be good and be better, and you're kind of escaping the things that you don't want to think about, and you're forging yourself. You're gradually wrangling out some kind of perfection from your existence in the shape of the physicality that produces accomplished sounds. So you might say it's a form of speaking to yourself, and in a way speaking to the world. You're making a sound that makes sense, or is more beautiful than the silence. Or, talking of sounds, we're about to be interrupted by the kettle here. I've got the kettle on, making a flask of tea here. So I did talk about I mean, there's lots and lots of subtle influences in the music, but these two authors, H.P. Lovecraft and Robert E. Howard, obviously, that play a big part in things. And I did mention H.R. Giger. That, I mean, there's not really a musical influence there, but there's a parallel that I see, and I mentioned this word biomechanical. It did actually strike me with the Prometheus movie and the one that came after, and we might even get some closure on a third in that series. I've heard some rumors on the internet. Why when David creates the alien, surely, seeing as though that word biomechanical, Giger's art, you look at the xenomorph, it looks partially mechanical, especially in its first rendition. Surely the intuitive answer and a more interesting creation story for the alien would have been for David to somehow I mean, think about it, yeah. Make his simulant android body immortal through the life cycle of the alien, therefore splicing his mechanical with the bio, you know, hence biomechanical, right? You know, with the black girl. I don't know why that passed the creators by, but obviously, to me, that would have been the obvious answer. Anyway, so let's get to these two authors. H.P. Lovecraft is the main one. So I'll come to him last because he was actually first. I discovered him first. I discovered Robert E. Howard through H.P. Lovecraft. I remember walking into the bookshop and seeing this lovely black and gold Conan the Complete Chronicles, and opening up the inside cover and staring at this picture of Robert E. Howard. His gaze he's obviously a tortured character, a very saturnine character. Same birthday as me, the 22nd of January. I'm 30 at the time. I'm 30 years old in this shop. And I'm reading that he killed himself at the age of 30. I was, fuck. This tally here, you know, like I just felt like I was obviously led to this. And it inspired the, you know, the whole Road of Kings thing. And, you know, so obviously there was a resonance there in terms of this. I mean, the vibe with Robert E. Howard is the harshness of reality, this savage garden. And the only answer, therefore, is to become mentally and physically strong, like Conan. And I think there's a pushback against, well, there's a definite pushback against society, against civilization there, isn't there? I mean, that classic line, civilization, ancient and wicked, and this notion of, you know, the civilized man is a coward, and all this kind of stuff. I totally relate to that. And living outdoors for over 4 years now, being so close to the elements, and anytime I start to get down, or, you know, mentally or physically, the only answer for me is to get fitter. I've struggled for a long time. I've been overweight, probably a good portion of my life. I've been overweight because I put on weight so easily. But when I really put my mind to it and I get out, you know, go for a run or get down the gym or whatever, it provides that life force, that there's something related to this whole Conan thing there. It's like fitness and strength in the face of the inevitable, you know, harshness of reality. It's like meeting reality head on with a sword in your hand, right? You know, it's the whole warrior motif. And Crom, this idea that, you know, he just doesn't care. I mean, you could really look into that and find some disturbing but undeniable relevance there. But anyway, it was H.P. Lovecraft was the first. And working in a pub at the time, I would sit in the evening with a drink, and I mean, it was great for me with all this stuff with H.P. Lovecraft, Robert E. Howard, and Tolkien as well before that. It wasn't ruined by the internet, and it wasn't ruined by movies, because I read Lord of the Rings before the movies came out. Those movies are not bad, but it's not great for you. It's wonderful to approach these things with the imagination, you know, more fully, you know, to create that world within your mind from the descriptions, etc. Some lovely artwork. Movies, they have a habit of taking over, don't they? I must say that wasn't a problem when I read Dune. I think that original Dune movie created quite a nice, you know, bank of images that complemented the, you know, the reading experience. Whatever. Anyway, so with H.P. Lovecraft, I didn't know anything about the Cthulhu mythos, any of this kind of stuff. It really hit me, like it's just such a beautiful experience, and the stories about the fishmen, just all of it. These forays into out of space and these strange alien races, and I was, it's the same with Robert E. Howard as well. I noticed something in the psychology of the writer that was resonant in me. So with Robert E. Howard, you had this notion of the harshness of reality and having to, meet that head on with a sword, if you like, or an axe, and the fact that even your your God is a miserable bastard sat on a mountain that doesn't care, and it's like it's all up to you. You are alone. You are get strong. Only the strong survive, right? So with H.P. Lovecraft, there was the notion of something wrong, something not quite right, something hidden in the motif of. If we just focus on the Cthulhu mythos aspect, that wateriness, those depths of the ocean. He wrote a story called The Night Ocean as well, actually, which inspired me. Obviously, water is emblematic of emotions and the subconscious, right? So if there's a massive, threatening beast underneath those waters that is communicating its, through dreams and mind control and, all of the ugly things that he describes that, transpire from that, you have to ask yourself, what is that wrongness, that beast in him? Well, I was sitting there realizing that I knew the answer. You see, it's a bit like the strength, the endurance against reality thing. It's like get fit, get strong, or die. With Lovecraft, it's like the beast is too big, it's too strong. This, from his point of view, insignificant, human race, this, with this primal ancient, against this primal ancient power, this beast in the ocean, or from the black depths of space, in certain cases. You can't defeat it. It has to rise from the depths. It will have its say. I sat there reading that and just understanding exactly what he was going through. This has to come up. It has to be integrated. Anyway, I think, I've made these. I must admit, I was tired. I think when I did one of these previous videos, I accidentally put a space in the name Jekacast where there shouldn't be one, and I used to be so perfectionist to the point of obsessiveness. I did the best I could with the Nyarlathotep video before I drove myself insane, because it was getting to the point where I'm sick of this, and if I add more images, it's gonna kind of ruin it. I thought it might be best leaving certain aspects to the imagination there. So yes, it all comes together, doesn't it? The alien, the barbarian, the beast under the depths, the mysteries of Egypt, the communication, via the muse and all this, the physicality, the strange, what would you call it, interbreeding with, not in our case, not fishmen, but the machine this unholy alliance, and in order to help give birth to something new. So obviously when this channel is completed, the Broderick Wallace YouTube channel carries on. I've made a few of these. I've tried to give this little chat a couple of times, so sometimes I'll forget what I might have said previously as I'm talking, but I think I did mention that I had been too generous in the past. It's very important for me going forward that I'm not playing for attention or views or anything like that. But it's also lazy not to, you know, if you've got some music, if you've got something to say, if you're wanting to interview a few people or whatever, it's important to make some effort, right? To just not be, to not be a waste of space, to not be a, you know, an NPC, right? So, you know, getting that balance is quite hard actually. And the winter solstice 2024 has just passed, and that marked a change. The end of a certain epoch in life in many ways. So yeah, I will make the you know, the best of, the compilation, whatever, JEKACAST last audio presentation video after this one, and that'll be the end of the JEKACAST YouTube channel. So we carry on the Broderick Wallace YouTube channel, but with some of the content removed and the number system scrubbed out. I will continue with interviews, as I've said many times, I think when the stars are in the right place. And right now, especially, I mean, I've had, if you want to talk about beasts rising from the, you know, the depths and all that, I had my what you might call a midlife crisis, a very magical one, a long time ago. And now I'm approaching 50. I mean, I'm 2 years away pretty much from being 50. So that is another strange transition where you realize you can get that somewhat right, or you can really stuff that up. I don't enjoy this life for the most part, in this culture, at this time period, in this body. It feels in many respects like I shouldn't be here, but it also feels like there's something that I need to do while I'm here. So through the application of meditation, there is a kind of equilibrium, a kind of peace that is, that it shows signs of a possible solution to that problem. So I could not predict in any way, shape or form how the future will turn out, or even how much longer I will be here. I mean, none of us know, right? There are reasons why I have to be here. And I can only take inspiration from the archetype of the barbarian for that strength that I require. And I can be grateful that the beast has already risen and the integration has taken place, the beast from the waves. Nyarlathotep. That's that strange integration with technology and how it rubs against the wisdom of the past, that hermetic wisdom. Obviously, this is highly misunderstood in Lovecraft's day. And I mean, you've only got to read that story, Under the Pyramids, to understand how extremely deeply misunderstood, you know, the whole thing is. So bringing that forward into modern times, this country where I live, you know, England, Great Britain, the UK, whatever, however you want to look at it, it's kind of dead. It's becoming something else. This is not a comfortable state to be in. And there's still something here in the land, in the landscape, and I know this deeply, personally, experientially. Still something here that goes way, 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 way back. Way back. And I've done my best to somehow communicate and try and give that a voice in the small ways that I can. But I find I get to a certain point and it's like no one deserves to hear it, and they wouldn't understand anyway, you know. So between the music channel, you know, the art that I leave behind, and that which will transpire, at least partially, evidently on the surface of the Broderick Wallace YouTube channel, it would be unwise to predict. So let's make that compilation last upload, the best of JEKACAST, and I will not be making any more music. That part of my life will be, well, it's already closed, but I'm just going to make that a formality with the next upload, and leave things here. So there's no one to thank, because it's just a tiny little channel on the internet, you know. It's only hope for any kind of, you know, life or existence or longevity is the fact that it connects up, you know, it connects to greater things, and the mystery of the future going forward. So whatever, strength in the face of the cold, and in the company of the integrated beast and the grace of the white lady upon the hills, and an equilibrating factor. Two eyes in the sky. I will say goodbye, but only here. It's time to wrap this channel up. Take care.